have you changed, not recently, but like you have changed positions in the past from striker to midfielder, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
What about that change? Just
So our new coach, Colin Batch, he was the one who asked me whether or not I would like to play there, which I was quite surprised at. I hadn't really thought about it. At the time, I was kind of, maybe a little bit naive about it. I was like, I don't really want to play there. I've played my whole life as a striker. I've thought I've cemented myself as a striker, and he challenged me to be more involved in the game. He wanted me to, not just touch the ball maybe 4 or 5 times. Unfortunately, as a striker, sometimes you just end up running around and you don't get many touches. So he challenged me a lot of, he wanted me to be involved in the game more and have the ball on the end of my stick in pressure situations more. And it came about probably in 2017. I started more so as like an attacking midfielder, still being able to go forward and score goals and be involved up front. And probably at the start of 18 decided that my qualities were further back in the defensive midfield role, and being able to handle the ball a little bit more under those midfield pressures that everyone wants to steal the ball in the midfield and things like that. So for me, I think it was a really good refresher as well. It was something that the group had changed, and the coaching group had changed and taken a new direction with the group, and for me to be involved more, I think it was for my career as well, it's been a huge shift, and I love it in there. I look back and be like, why did I ever play striker for the amount of touches that I get now? Yeah, for sure. And in saying that, I look back and I probably would never have made the team if I played midfield with the guys like Simon Orchard, Eddie Ockenden, these guys running around in midfield. There was no chance I was ever going to get a game there. But it probably with the new group and in 17 after Rio, when everything changed, it was an opportunity, and I took it, and I've loved every minute of it. It's challenging. It's completely different thought process than what it is as a striker, and I love it in there.
Was there anything that your skill set as a striker that helped you transition to being that midfielder, or was it completely different?
I think I still really emphasise my speed and agility in the midfield. I think that's a really big strong point in my ability to be able to change direction really quickly, or be able to run past a defender or my opponent with my speed. I think that still works really well. I've certainly learnt along the way that I can't just get the ball and try and razz or beat my opponent one-on-one a lot of the times, because it's such a heightened position that if I do get stolen in the midfield, there's only 30 or 40 yards to the goal, whereas if I did that in our attacking circle, they've still got 100 yards. So probably not great saying this, but it didn't matter as much, I guess, if I lost the ball as a striker. Whereas if I lose the ball in the midfield, it's counter-attack central, and certainly more heightened in there. But I think they're still some of the skills that I have brought back with me, for sure.
Is it harder to read the game as a midfielder, or is it as a striker?
I think as a striker, I believe it's harder. I think with the involvement that you get in the midfield, you can kind of set plays up with the defenders. You can kind of connect forward with our strikers, whereas as a striker, you might be the furthest guy away and be really difficult for them to connect because you're so far away. So in the midfield, you're getting a lot of touches. You're making plays. You're setting up, going forward, and I love being able to. I honestly couldn't care less if I didn't score any goals for the rest of my career, as long as we're winning the game. I love being able to just put the ball onto someone's stick and those guys hit it in. I think that's such the satisfaction now that I get out of playing in the midfield, is assisting guys being able to score, and I love that.
That's almost like a wiser head kind of thing, isn't it? Like, you're younger, you're a striker.
I want to score for sure. And I still get up there occasionally. I've probably lost that knack of maybe scoring ability. I still work pretty hard on it in individual sessions and when I do get the opportunity. But the satisfaction of seeing the ball go in the back of the net from a play that potentially comes through your position or the other, like a Aaron Zalewski or a Flynn Ogilvie, who are in that position as well, is so satisfying, because we watch so much film. we talk about things and how can we manipulate the defenders. And then when it comes off in training or it comes off in a game, you look back at it and you go, yeah, that's pretty cool. We've been working on that for some time, and for it to come to fruition, it's pretty cool.
Do you have to have a pretty high level of hockey IQ, obviously as a striker as well, but do you have to go back and rethink a lot of the game as a midfielder?
Yeah, for sure. It's again, I talk about that heightened ability in the midfield. Is the way that hockey has gone now. A lot of teams play zonal hockey, rather than kind of marking and chasing your guy. You kind of stay in your zone, and unfortunately for the midfield group, when you do get the ball, that zone collapses in on where you're positioning, and if you're off by a missed trap or the ball doesn't come where you are, you're getting pounced on by a striker, a midfielder, and probably the other midfielder as well. So your IQ is, do I have to receive and pass the ball straight back, or can I open up my receive and play against my opponent because they haven't pushed up on me, or little things like that, which, I find really challenging, and love the challenge of being able to, again, manipulate my opponent or my side of the field to open and create for others.
Yeah, because hockey is such an interesting sport as well, because you've have to have that IQ, like where I'm going to go, where I'm going to pass it, but you have to have the skill as well. You can have the one side, you can not be reading it well, but have all the skill, and then you can have in bad form with your technique and your skill, but be reading and be like, I just can't get it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a perfect way of describing a midfielder's day at the office. Is you could be trapping everything, but not, we call it pre-scanning, not looking forward and not seeing what is available. Or like you said, the other side of it, you could be pre-scanning and connecting with someone forward or connecting with someone back, and all of a sudden you've mistrapped it in. What's the point of doing all that if you can't trap the ball? So for myself, is I probably go the latter, is that I want to be able to, my skill set is my first touch and being able to control the ball, and then once I know that that's in tune and on, and then I start looking forward and connecting and getting opportunities going forward.
Is there anything you do like to do during training week, or not like to do, but you want to tick off during the training week to give you confidence going into a game or a tournament? Yeah,
for sure. We work a lot, again, as a midfield group in our receive and how we can break lines going forward, and Tuesdays is our individual day as such, so we get to work on things that maybe you don't get in a match play situation like this morning, where sometimes it's just not on or you can't. So Tuesdays I spend a lot of time again with the other midfielders, and a lot with our defenders, hitting the ball as hard as they can, making us trap it, and then turning around or making sure that your first touch is on, and connecting with other guys going forward. Is Tuesdays, I love Tuesdays, is because matches sometimes it goes so quickly that you forget in the moment that you can't just go over and say, hey Moose, can I have a word with you, because the game's gone. It's just way too fast to be able to, unless you get time on the bench together, and most of the time you're sucking in the big ones on the bench anyway and getting some fluid that you sometimes can't talk to each other because you're so tired. So Tuesdays we get a really good opportunity to maybe do one or two sets, and then we stop and get a whiteboard and have a real think about, if this guy is our defender and he's going to move here, then we can roll this way and play you in on the other side of the field, and little things like that, which I love being able to do. And I also love being able to watch the film as well. We obviously film our games, but we also film training from drones and GoPros all over the field, and that's available to us like on our phone or our laptop after trainings. Something like that. I don't know what it's called these days, but it's changed 3 or 4 times over the last little bit. But you can go on there, and we as a midfield group catch up once a week normally on a Monday morning, and have a coffee and sit down and say, like, Flynn, you're doing this really awesome, like keep doing that. Or for myself, like, you can't keep doing that because you're getting dispossessed. Like, the conversations we have within our midfield group and our back group and our striker group are really good, and I guess all that comes down to the culture of our group is just so strong at the moment. It's so cool to be a part of.
Is that all those like coffee catch ups and going through videos? Is that led by